So today we're going to talk about the very first battle of the American Revolution, and before we do that, I would like to review a little bit of all of the things that led up to this day. So all of the causes, the 8 causes of the American Revolution. See what you can remember on your own, and then come back and see how you did. So remember, the first is Enlightenment thinking. The colonists wonder why the heck the British are still ruling them. The British says, okay, you can rule yourself with salutatory neglect. Then we get the French and Indian War. The British come to help the colonists, but the British want their money back, so we start the Stamp Act. We have the Boston Massacre, where 5 colonists die. Then the colonists throw $3 million worth of tea into the Boston Harbor. The king gets upset, so he starts the Intolerable Acts, and then T-Pain starts Common Sense. So some other important things to remember from that lesson. Remember, we talked about Sam Adams. He was the crazy leader of the Patriots with the Sons of Liberty. You could add tar and feathering, Patriots versus Loyalists. Any extra information you have is only going to help you. So kind of self-assess yourself, see how you did with those causes, and we're going to move into how all of those things kind of came to a head, and we have the actual fighting. So the colonists and the Patriots and the British need to have a plan. All of these things are happening throughout Boston, throughout the colonies, so everyone's preparing for a potential war. So the Patriots' plan is called 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. They've decided that if the British start to attack them, they're going to light a candle in a church in the town hall. And if the colonists see 1 candle, that means the British are attacking them by land. And if they see 2 candles lit, that means the British are attacking them by sea. The Loyalists, on the other hand, so the British supporters, they decide that the best way to keep the Patriots under control is to go to Concord, a city in the colonies, and they're going to steal all of the supplies and weapons at Concord. That way, the Patriots can't attack the British. So that's their plans, and this is how the fighting actually starts. So I'm going to have you guys actually draw this with me. There's lots of information. Try your best to draw what I draw and as many facts as you can in this little box. So what we're going to be drawing is, this is actually a bridge that connects Lexington and Concord. And in Concord, that is where the colonists store all of their weapons. They have a big arsenal there. All their weapons, supplies for potential war are hidden there. Now the British get word of this, and they decide they're going to attack by land. So if you remember, since they're attacking by land, the colonists are going to light that 1 candle in the church. Apparently I can't draw candles, you guys. But this is lit, 1 candle. So that means the colonists are going to join together. They see that the British are attacking them by land. So they're going to assemble some troops. So the British have 700 men that start to march towards Concord, and their goal is to steal all those guns. The colonists light that 1 candle. They see them coming, so they're going to assemble only 70 men. They don't have an official army. They have something called a militia, but it's a group of patriots, and they're going to march towards these 700 British soldiers to try to protect their weapons. So the story is a bit hairy. History kind of doesn't really say for sure who started it for a while, and there's lots of different, myths and stories about what actually happened at this bridge. But neither the British nor the colonists really wanted to be at fault and be the first one to fire and start this war. So the story goes that a bee was kind of buzzing around, and a British soldier slipped and tried to swat at that bee and accidentally fired. So that's one of the stories out there. But history does show that the British did fire first, and this is how the fighting actually started. So since the Brits start firing first, eight Patriots die at the Lexington Bridge, and they have to retreat. Okay, they're not prepared for this fighting at the bridge. So you can go ahead and box in Lexington. The Battle of Lexington at this bridge, the British officially win. So they are able to get the militia to retreat back to Concord. So the Patriots retreat, and what they do when they get back to Concord is something super clever. What they do is they take all of the guns out of their arsenal, and they hide them in their farming field. So they bury all of their guns in a field, so that way the British can't find them. So when the British continue to march towards Concord, they can't find any of their weapons. So they have to retreat back, and they start marching back away from Concord. Now the path that they took away from Concord as they leave is a dense forest. There's tons of trees. It's a very narrow path. So what the colonists do, again, is very clever. So the British like to stand in line or at a bridge like they did at Lexington and fire at each other in a straight line. The colonists aren't having that. They need to be very strategic since they're outnumbered. So the colonists actually get 400 patriots gathered together, and what they do is they run and hide in those trees along the path, and they surprise attack the British. So they start to fire on the British troops. Now you'd think that they would totally annihilate these British soldiers since they're hiding in trees, but the colonists are not very good shots, and they have really kind of crappy weapons, so only 70 British soldiers die in that attack. However, it is a win for the Patriots at Concord.